Now on CoastTV News.
Icy issues with focus on overnight freeze, what we're seeing on Delmarva's key roads. Plus, airports adjust after a day of cancellations. The changes to the schedule as flights look to resume today.
Wind chills back into the teens Delmarva wide, and this is really only a taste of what's to come. Tracking sub-zero wind chills in the days ahead.
We are now taking a live look at Dewey Beach. Footage from just moments ago. This is on Route 1 near Reed Street. And the challenge throughout today is ice and temperatures that won't get above freezing. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
CoastTV News Midday.
Today is Monday, January 26, 2026. I'm Grace Eckerly and welcome to CoastTV News Midday. Starting off by taking a live look into Rehoboth Beach, and a snowy one at that. Now let's get straight to the man of the hour. It's our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, joining us now for a first look at today's forecast following this weekend's big storm. Good morning, Chris.
I'll tell you what, we had a little brief snow shower earlier this morning and produced a little dusting there across portions of Dorchester County. We had little flurries pass through Sussex and Wycomico County, but the trend is clearing skies. Been gradually turning colder here over the next few days. Our area of low pressure that brought snow, sleet, freezing rain and rain now kicking up into the Canadian Maritimes, and you see that ice here in Cambridge, 25 degrees. They picked up 3 inches of snow. On top of that, they picked up about a quarter inch of ice once we saw that changeover late yesterday. Feeling like 13 in Harrington, feeling like 17 in Georgetown, and it feels like 15 in Rehoboth Beach. Temperatures are going to hover right in the upper 20s to right around 30 degrees. We're going to see single-digit wind chills as early as this evening, feeling like -1 by daybreak tomorrow. I'll have more on that, plus maybe some more snow in our distant future.
Thank you, Chris. Now the focus is on those icy conditions that we just heard about, especially how it's affecting our roads. Coast TV's Elisa Weber is live in the First Alert Weather Jeep. Elisa, all of this has the last hour. Delaware Governor Matt Meyer has announced driving restrictions are downgraded to a level 1 in Newcastle and Kent counties and lifted entirely in Sussex County as there are efforts to get the roads back to normal.
Good morning, Grace. Yes, those main highways, those are clear, but it's the back roads, which I'm going to show you right now. These are where you need to be the most careful. This morning, we've seen a lot of black ice. There's a lot of ice in this roadway that we are driving through this morning, and it's some of these back roads that have been neglected where people could really they could get into a lot of danger. They could hurt themselves, they could fall, just accidents with their cars. So you want to be careful when you are driving on these back roads, even pulling out of your driveway. In some instances here, you need to be careful. It could be a sheet of ice, but those main highways that we were talking about earlier today, those really are clear. So you just want to make sure, especially if you are walking and driving on these back roads like this one right here. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa Weber in Georgetown. Those were the scenes of those back roads there. Now let's take a closer look at some other side streets across Delmarva. We are joined now by Emma Aiken, who is live in Milford as the focus switches from snow accumulation to icy conditions. Good morning, Emma.
Grace, good morning. Take a look at this side street we're on here in Milford. This is North Street. We've been saying this all morning, but things are deceiving here. It looks like it's clear, but there are patches of ice all around like this. Take a look here. This is what you're going to see all around. It's crunchy. It looks like slush, but it's frozen, caked on to the streets everywhere. We have been talking about the ice all morning, but it finally took me down. Ironically, about 30 minutes ago, I did wipe out. It was a scene that looked kind of like this. It was downtown, but I was on the street trying to step over a small snowbank. As soon as my foot hit the sidewalk, wiped out. It hurt a good bit, and the sheer embarrassment. So I say this to really urge caution. The ice is no joke, and just being a little bit hyper aware when you're out walking, especially because it doesn't seem like these temperatures are going to get above that freezing mark throughout the day, with no chance of this ice really melting for today. Grace, back to you.
Thank you, Emma. Well wishes to you and a speedy recovery to both your body and your ego after that fall. We're now taking a live look at the westbound span of the Bay Bridge. In the distance is the shoreline of the Chesapeake Bay along Route 50 heading to Annapolis. And this morning, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, bridges and overpasses can freeze before roadways and are likely common spots where drivers can lose traction. This just in, driving restrictions have been downgraded in Newcastle, and here's video that we have from just moments ago in Newark. This is the area of the Christiana Mall. Now, if you are driving on these major roadways today, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, again, warning to never use cruise control. I know it can be tempting, especially if you're heading out today. It's a Monday. Maybe you want to sleep in a little bit, a little tired. Do not turn it on because it actually will reduce a driver's control when traction is lost, especially with those icy road conditions. Now, be sure to download the CoastTV News app for your phone and your iPad, tablets, etc. ahead of the storm and the future storm that Chris is tracking. In case you didn't know, you can also get CoastTV streaming apps for your TV with devices like Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. We'll stream all of our weather updates throughout this week, including a special winter storm coverage, and you can get those on our app. And happening today, Maryland Governor Wes Moore will visit emergency operations centers. According to his office, at 10 a.m., he was scheduled to visit the State Highway Administration Emergency Operations Center in Hanover. That's located between Annapolis and Baltimore. And at noon, he is expected at the Annapolis Emergency Operations Center to speak with emergency workers and Maryland National Guard members. The state of Delaware offices are closed today, January 26, 2026. This applies to all 3 counties. However, essential employees designated for severe weather are to report as scheduled. And the Delaware DMV announcing this morning that all locations are closed today due to the inclement weather. The department noted that their online services will be available as needed. And Wacomico County says that their state of emergency will end today. That'll happen at 5 p.m. Officials say road and weather conditions have both improved. The county urges residents to still use caution and says that county services will reopen on a delayed schedule. All flights from Philadelphia, BWI, Salisbury, and Reagan were canceled on Sunday. Today, however, well, that's a different story. Some cancellations in Philadelphia, but there are also some flights that are scheduled to take off on time. The same is true in Baltimore, with a little over half their scheduled flights set to take off on time. And Salisbury's only flight today scheduled to take off on time. At the Reagan National Airport, many flights are canceled, with some scheduled to depart on time. Now stay with us on CoastTV News Midday, because coming up after the break, morning after Minnesota shooting. We'll show you the reactions from people there and law enforcement.
Despite how cold it is today, today is actually the mildest day over the next week. We're tracking even colder temperatures into tomorrow morning, sub-zero wind chills. Congratulations to Jeanette Dukes of Milton, Delaware on winning an umbrella from CoastTV. We'll talk about an extended stretch of dangerous cold and potentially more snow into the weekend.
The frigid weather did not stop protesters in Minnesota from demonstrating over the weekend. Reed Binion shows us how people are reacting after another deadly shooting of a U.S. citizen by a federal agent.
Tensions rising again in Minnesota after a federal immigration agent shot and killed a man in Minneapolis over the weekend. It marks the second time a Minneapolis resident has been killed by federal officers this month. 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Preddy, a U.S. citizen, was shot and killed Saturday. The Department of Homeland Security said agents were conducting a targeted operation against an undocumented immigrant wanted for a violent assault when another individual, quote, approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
He brought a semi-automatic weapon to a riot, assaulted federal officers, and at some point they saw that weapon.
Records show Preddy was a lawful gun owner. Federal officials claimed an agent shot Preddy in self-defense, but have declined to provide critical details supporting that. Meanwhile, Democrats and others point to witness statements and multiple videos of the incident that tell a different story.
This man, Alex Preddy, was peacefully assembling. He was lawfully carrying his weapon with him. He was not brandishing it by definition, by any stretch at all.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Taking a live look out into Dover this morning. This is the view from our Bay Health Kent camera. As you can see, some icicles forming on your screen there. It is going to be a sloppy drive out for people in our northern parts of our coverage area today. And coming up next, Chris Mastrobono working hard. Look, this is what I call Mets in the Met Desk. Next to Bob Trihey, they're forecasting another storm this weekend. Ooh, the drama. Stay tuned for your full forecast after this.
Well, we continue to dig out from snow and ice across the peninsula. Some snow there on the boards. Very Desolate look there in Rehoboth as we continue to see very cold conditions across the area. 27 degrees. Winds are out of the northeast. We saw a few snow showers make their way across portions of Dorchester, Wacomico County. Dropped a little coating there, but for the most part, just a few flurries toward the north. We have a little upper level system pushing across the northeast, but our storm system that brought us the snow, sleet, and rain is now off to the northeast. Now, we still do have this winter weather advisory for Dorchester County up until 1. That's due in part to the icy conditions that we're experiencing across those secondary roads, those less treated surfaces. We're at 26 right now in Milford, 27 in Long Neck. So temperatures are generally in the mid to upper 20s, but when you factor in those winds gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour, it feels like 16 in Milton, feels like 16 Indian River Inlet. Picking up a 37-mile-an-hour gust there. Ocean City, 30-mile-an-hour gust there in Salisbury. So temperatures are going to really struggle, I think, to get out of the 20s through the afternoon. We'll fall to 21 by around 10, but note the wind chill. We're going to see those wind chills dip not only in the single digits, but below 0 as we go into daybreak tomorrow. And we have that cold weather advisory that kicks into effect this evening and runs through tomorrow for our southern counties up through Delaware. That runs through Wednesday morning. So this is going to be a prolonged stretch of cold. 10, we fall to Georgetown tonight, 11 in Lewis, but when you factor in the wind, it's going to feel even colder than that. Partly cloudy skies through the evening and a frigid, clear night as those temperatures fall across the area, and another cold one into Tuesday. We're going to gradually kind of get colder and colder with each day this week. Can't even rule out a stray snow shower as we go into Tuesday night. That's as the cold front pushes through, but pretty much the front that's going to be pushing through Tuesday night into Wednesday is pretty much moisture starved. Now, the risk of frostbite increases with the temperature falling. We're going to have single digit to wind chills below 0 as we go into Tuesday. And then the core of that cold comes Thursday. So if I had to pick a morning, which is going to be the quote unquote worst, most likely Thursday, where we're going to see wind chills dipping as low as -10. So high pressure is going to be sinking in, Arctic high pressure, and this Arctic high is really going to just kind of take a stranglehold on much of the east as far as the below temperatures go, as far as below freezing. In fact, we're going to stay below freezing for all of the week. Then we focus our attention on Saturday. Yes, unfortunately, we could be dealing with another coastal low. The models are all over the place, and that is the case when you're about 5 to 6 days out. But we're going to continue to follow that system very closely here through the week because there is plenty of cold air in place to support snow. It's going to be all about track. We're down to 20 for a high on Thursday. Look at those overnight lows, single digits, 22 into Friday, and then watching for that chance of some potential snow as we go into the weekend.
Careful, Chris, you may make some enemies talking about all the snow. And coming up tonight on DSN at 8, Gillian Academy takes on SoCal Academy in boys basketball. Then it's outdoors Delmarva at 10:30 p.m. With wintry weather impacting Delmarva, school districts already have a plan in place, and according to Cape Henlopen School District, if there are 2 consecutive school closures in those days in a row, operations will move to synchronous learning on the second day, which would be Tuesday. The district will share any delays or closures they say through phone, email, text, or social media. And Indian River School District says the first day of weather-related closures will be a snow day. The second day, students will complete assignments on their own time without live instruction. And due to the state of emergency, tonight's Indian River School District Board of Education meeting will be held virtually around 7 p.m. Anyone who wishes to watch can find that live stream link on irsd.net. The University of Maryland Eastern Shore leaders are announcing changes ahead of this crazy weather that we had. UMES says that all classes for today will be held virtually. That'll be held through the week of January 30th. Residence hall move-ins are being delayed until the following weekend. Staff will work remotely during the week, and the school says that essential workers will continue their on-campus duties this week. Now don't go anywhere, because coming up, pets in the cold, how to keep your furry friends safe. Some things to know. Health officials in Dorchester County are advising the best ways to avoid frostbite and hypothermia if you must be outside. According to the county health department, the first layer clothing should be items that keep you dry. The second layer should be made out of fleece or wool to keep you warm, and then she says that your outer layer should be waterproof and wind resistant, ideally with a hood. Dorchester County Health Department says that mittens are also better than gloves because they allow your fingers to share warmth. And the Delaware Emergency Management Agency is reminding people to take the time to check in with their elderly neighbors. The agency says that there are ways that you can help take care, like clearing their walkways, especially with all this ice on the sidewalks, check their heating systems, and also make sure to have an emergency contact and all that information to share with them ahead. And according to DEMA, people can also offer help with groceries or medication if needed. The Wacomico County Health Department sharing some helpful tips now for pet owners as well. The agency says to set up a warm and draft-free space inside that is away from windows. Prepare an emergency pet kit made with medications or documentation. And when walking dogs, officials advise watching for shivering or lifting paws. The department says smaller and senior dogs may need coats and booties. And check under car hoods for cats who may have crawled into your car engine when it was once warm.
Well, we are kicking off a dangerous stretch of cold, prolonged cold through the week. Right now in Lewis, we are seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. That's really where we're going to stay through the day under partly cloudy skies. We'll gradually begin to see those skies clear through the evening. Here, your latest forecast by calling our First Alert weather phone. And that frigid 10-day forecast is coming up next. A blustery morning on the peninsula, feeling like 13 in Cambridge, 15 in Salisbury. Now over the next 12 hours, partly cloudy skies will fall into the lower 20s by this evening. And really, it's the wind chill is going to be the story here. Right through the week, we stay well below the freezing mark. Temperatures are going to be falling into the upper single digits, the teens, feeling like -1 by tomorrow. And then the core of that cold comes over the area Thursday. Note the temperatures don't get above the freezing mark till early next week. And then we keep a close eye on this upcoming weekend for possibly the potential of another round of snow. We'll have more on that through the week, and we'll continue to fine-tune the forecast. And then we finally get above freezing by Monday. Grace.
Chris, you and Matt are going to have a heated rivalry if you keep mentioning that snow in the forecast. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News Midday. If you like more local news or local weather, download our Coast TV News app, and don't forget to join us back here for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Until then, have a great Monday.